This video is brought to you by my supporters on Patreon. Hey guys, I'm here with a video showing you how I styled my wig for my Moroha cosplay. I still can't get that name right. I'm pretty sure I'm not saying it right. Anyways, I started off with this black ponytail wig that I got off of eBay. I just searched black ponytail wig and picked one out that had bangs and obviously tied up into a ponytail. And the one I got was super long, so to start off I just cut away a majority of the ponytail. I didn't cut it up to the length that it was going to end up as because, you know, if you cut it too short, there's no going back. So I still kept it a little bit on the long side, just not quite as long as it was. Once a majority of the length was gone, the next thing I did was just straighten it because it was a little bit warped from shipping and being in the bag for so long. And then I started to trim away at the hair. So this wig has a lot of the hair tied up into the ponytail, and then it has a separate clip attachment. I tried to cut it all at once with the clip on, however that wasn't quite working out, so I do take that off and then start trimming away at the tied up hair until it's about the length I want and has some layers in it, and then I put the clip back on and trim away at that until it's at the length I want. And I do layer it, like I mentioned. I add a bunch of short layers, especially at the top of the ponytail, and then longer layers going down, working my way down. Doing this because her ponytail is like really layered and not necessarily spiky, but a little bit spiky. I don't know how else to really describe that, but hopefully you guys get the idea as you watch this. I'm just adding in layers, making it come to a point, making it like really shaggy looking at the end so that there's no harsh lines or no blunt cut. To make sure there are no blunt cuts and everything looks a little bit more natural, I hold my scissors so that they point at a downward angle and kind of just glide and snip if need be as I work my way down different clumps of hair that I'm grabbing. Hopefully you can kind of see here. I don't really know else how to explain it except for you're just letting the hair like get chopped as you pull the scissors down the hair so that there's just a bunch of little layers throughout whatever clump of hair you are grabbing, and it all comes to like a point and it gets thinner as it goes towards the bottom because her ponytail does get thinner as it goes towards the bottom like most anime ponytails do. Once I'm happy with the layering, I take some hairspray and I take my straightening iron and just start spiking the ponytail a little bit. So not like any sort of like harsh spikes, but I do start straightening out the ponytail and flipping it where I want it to flip out and pulling just sections into a spike or a point at the bottom. So I'm not like spiking them up or anything, but I am grouping them together so that they come to a point. And there's like a lot of little points all throughout this ponytail. This ponytail actually had a bit of volume all on its own, so I really didn't have to do much there. However, if you find you do need more volume, go ahead and tease the ponytail out before doing this step. You can also add a bit of volume at the top of your ponytail by using your straightener to just kind of like bend the top so that it poofs a bit and holding it there until it cools. Once I was happy with the ponytail, I move on to the fringe. So she has like 2 side fringes, or like it's almost like a center part, and then the 2 sides get swept, you know, the 2 halves get swept off to either side. But she has like these little wispy parts in the front. So that's what I'm trying to recreate here, like a mix of 2 side fringes and a full fringe. It's really weird. I don't really know how else to explain it. But if you look at a reference photo, hopefully you get it. Anyways, what I do, because this has a very long straight fringe, and then like straight cut, full fringe. I'm not quite sure what the term is for that, but it's got like some very long bangs basically. And then it has like side pieces as well. So it kind of worked with what I was going for. I take a very small section at the center and just cut those up to be about eyebrow length on me, and then form those into like little points. I did 3, you could do more or less depending on whatever you want. That's just how many I ended up with. And then I started styling the sides of her bangs. So there isn't too much I had to do with this. I did add a little bit of layering to it just to help it with the volume and make it look less blunt, because it was looking a little bit like a blunt cut. And then after cutting it and trimming it and getting rid of some of the thickness in that area, I poofed it up using a teasing comb, and like I pulled up the top layer, set that aside, and then teased the heck out of these 2 side pieces underneath, and then laid it back down and brushed it out so that it looked kind of nice, and used hairspray to seal all of that in place as well. I'm using the Got2b hairspray, by the way. It's like the best hairspray for wigs. And whenever I needed to use my straightener, I obviously also used that. I use that just to help get the bangs to kind of curve and swoop towards the back of the wig, and also to add some volume at the top. I basically just kept like kind of messing with the bangs until they started looking how I wanted. I added little spikes around the like part that frames your face just to, you know, tie in the ponytail spikiness and everything. And then I also just like kept teasing it and then poofing it, and if it was too poofy, I'd brush it out slightly, and if I lost too much volume, I'd just re-tease it a teensy bit or poof it up with some hairspray and the straightener. And I lied, I actually did more than 3. I ended up thinking that 3 looked just kind of weird, so I ended up adding a few more like wispy pieces that just kind of helped frame more along my face and just add more to the center of the bang area. Again, not too much, but a little bit more than I had. And once I was happy with that, the last thing I needed to do was, she has these 2 little like curled pieces that come down from around where her ears are. So they're part of the bangs, but like they're really long, or not really long, but you know, they're longer. So I had left hair out of the ponytail for that, and also there was enough hair in this like side fringe part that this wig had that's what I used as well, and I just kind of trimmed it to be about like collarbone length, and then used my straightener to flip those inwards and hairspray to help keep that all into place. I just realized I said collarbone length, and that is not what I meant at all. I don't know why I said that. It's like a little bit below chin length. I don't know why I said collarbone length. Chin length, oh, we're a bit below that. And that is it for this video. That finishes up this wig. Sorry if it's a little bit messy. My setup for this wasn't ideal because this was like a last minute decision to record this. However, I hope this was still helpful, and I did do a little bit of a turnaround and then I started fiddling with the wig again because I never know when to stop. But that's basically how it ended up looking. If you want to see more photos of the final result and the entire cosplay, that is up on my website, which is linked down below, as well as Instagram, which is also linked down below. And I have videos on how I made the rest of her cosplay up on my channel, as well as templates in my store. And I think that's everything. So thanks for watching, guys. Have a lovely day, and bye!